Hi, everyone, and welcome to Black in Focus. I'm Karen Toulon here at Bloomberg World Headquarters in New York. We have a great show today. We're going to be talking with Brenda Darden Wilkerson. She is the CEO of Anita B. Org, and she's a wonderful advocate for access and opportunity for underrepresented communities in technology. Interestingly enough, she founded the original Computer Science for All program, building computer science classes into the curriculum for every student in the Chicago public schools, where she is in Chicago right now. And that program served for the inspiration for the Obama administration's national CS for All initiatives. So welcome, Brenda.
Thank you, Karen. Excuse me. It's great to be here.
So the goal of Anita B is to achieve intersectional equity in tech. So you help women in technical fields and the companies that employ them, kind of them all kind of meet in the middle, and hopefully the end result is more women working in technical fields. But first, the obvious question: who is Anita B?
It's a great question, and I'm really proud to be able to serve as the head of this organization that was started by a visionary, Anita Borg, who really recognized years ago that the tech industry would be better served. The people that the tech industry serves, which is all of us, would be better served if the table where tech is created were more diverse. And so that's what we're all about. We're all about helping companies, as you mentioned, and women understand how to make that table more diverse. But I also like to mention educational institutions because many of the challenges that we find around diversity actually start there. So we're about fixing the ecosystem, working with the people within the ecosystem to make sure that we talk about getting into tech in the right way. You hear many times about the pipeline and that there's a lack of diversity in the pipeline and the women just aren't there. Well, first of all, it's not true. And a more accurate way of thinking about this whole concept of bringing people into tech is to think about the multiple pathways in. How are different people able to get in with their amazing experiences that we need to impact tech? And so we work to enrich that ecosystem, make it much more diverse, make the opportunities available that are available for women known to them, make companies more able to create the cultures that are conducive to having that diverse tech workforce.
You know, we were talking before we went live, and you were telling me before you joined Anita B about 3 years ago that when you were working in the industry, there were more women working in the industry then than there are now. And I think we're now currently at around 28, according to your data, about 28.9%. That's up about 3% since 2018. What's going on? Where did those women go? I think back then there was around we were at like 35% or so. Where did those women go?
And that's true. At our height, we were at 35%. And that's really
Wow.
what is sort of the sad tale, right? When Anita issued the challenge back in 1995 that we would have gender equity by 2020, we had 30 years to get it right, and we only had 15% to go. But unfortunately, we backslid all the way to 14% at one point. And so, where did those women go? You know, of course, they still have their degrees, they still have their experience. Many of them still have their passion, and they're serving in other areas. They've gone to other verticals, and that's fine. I love the fact that we have choices to do different things, but tech needs those women. And in the meantime, there have been many, many more that are trained, ready, excited about getting involved, and still have met those barriers that we are working very diligently to break down.
Okay, so we're going to talk about that, but first, you just finished up your first Grace Hopper annual conference that was held especially for EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. You had a huge keynote speaker. Usually, these are global conferences for everyone. This time, this focused specifically on this part of the world, although folks from America and India, I guess, also did join in. Can you tell me a little bit about why you held a conference just for this part of the world and who that speaker
Sure.
was?
Sure. So we held the conference in the EMEA specifically to focus on the region. We're global already. We have communities in the region already from around the world. When we have our conference, which we have the largest women in tech conference in the world in the US, when we had our conference last year, we it was representative of 115 countries. So those countries participate. They're speakers, they're attendees, but they don't get the focus. It's very US centric. And so, what we wanted to do is to shine a light on the fact that women in tech are not a monolith. It's not all about the United States or Silicon Valley. We wanted them to take center stage and get the focus and really discuss the types of needs, challenges, wishes, dreams that they have in their geographies. And so that's why we specifically focused on the region. And we were really excited to have Malala Yousafzai as our keynote speaker. She was amazing, an inspiration. She actually herself is taking coding classes, which just adds to the list of exciting things that she takes on. And she was a great inspiration for women to just see the types of challenges that she's overcome, the types of goals that she's shooting for, and we were all encouraged to know that we can do whatever it is we set our hearts to as well.
Wow. So at least here in the U.S., and I know I globally, COVID-19 has affected women particularly hard. Has forced so many women out of the workplace because they've had to deal with children or other family members who've needed care. We have the expression "she session." Are women in those regions facing different challenges? Did you hear anything in this conference that surprised you?
Well, I mean, I think because again, we are in touch with women from all over the world, and we hear their stories, but we got to hear more of them front and center. They got to share more, and of course, there are the commonalities, the challenge of being out of work because of the economic pressures that COVID bring, and because of that, the pressures on their families and therefore their communities. That we know that women bear the majority of that anyway. But then specifically in certain areas, it was about, can I finish my degree? It was already a challenge for me to go to university. Can I finish my degree? What are the challenges that I'm having around losing a mate to COVID? There's so many, so much death that impacted women in these areas. What about some of the initiatives that they were working on that were already challenged around clean water, clean air, housing? Now this is sort of thrown in disarray or brought to the forefront. And so really talking about how they are working together. I think the most encouraging thing was we're creating additional networks. This was an additional way for women to know many times they were working on similar things that were right next door and they didn't know about each other. And now they have an opportunity to work together. I think that's one of the important things about our community, that so many times we are the only one. And we feel like, well, we've got to go it alone when there might be a woman that's right nearby, or now with technology, she might be around the world that are doing the same things. We can get together, we can find partners for business, we can find just partners in conversation and support so that we can do these things better and easier together.
Okay, so let's dive into those partnerships that you're able to do. How is it that Anita B is going to actually move the needle? Because I think when I was reading through some of your material on your website, which is really, really rich with data and videos, at the current rate of improvement, it's going to take 12 years to reach equal representation in the workplace for women in technology. You have so many programs that try to address women at all stages of their career. So at school level, entry level, middle, and more experienced. And so I just want to kind of talk through them a little bit. You have membership. So how many members do you have, globally around the world? How many women in technology do you kind of touch on an annual basis?
Well, official members we have are right under 25,000, but we touch over 100,000 women every single year via our conferences via our 365-day per year program that brings educational opportunities, it brings mentoring opportunities, it brings the opportunity to learn in small groups versus large groups, opportunities to meet with employers, to meet with other potential funders and people who might you might want to partner with in a startup community. And so we have a broad tent, a very wide tent, and that's challenging, but it's exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to be able to meet women where they are on their journey. We also focus on what we call aspiring women technologists. And many times people think when they're thinking pipeline specific, they're thinking about, okay, so those are college students, right? Or those are younger women. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes, but it could also be women who are on their second, third, fourth, fifth career who are thinking of crossing over into tech, using all the great experience and learnings that they've had in their life to that point, and they've all maybe they always wanted to get into tech, or this is a new desire of theirs, and so we create those pathways for them to get the type of training and opportunities to come in as well.
So let's talk about that. And again, just want to emphasize this. You're saying 365 days a year, there's some sort of training going on,
Yes.
especially now because, again, so many women have been displaced.
Yes.
And because so many people coming out of COVID and coming out of the economic and physical and health and emotional shakeup that has come out of the pandemic are taking stock of their lives and saying, what is it I really want to do with my talent and my time? What would you say to a woman, a mid-career woman who has, solid skills, is an aggressive thinker, is a problem solver, who is an active, engaged person, who's thinking, what, maybe I should, I don't necessarily have that technology degree, but I am a valuable person. I am an asset.
That's right.
What does Anita B have to offer that woman?
Well, the first thing I want to say to her is you're exactly the type of person that we need. We need all different types of people with all different types of backgrounds coming into tech. What we're trying to do is break that pattern matching that says that you have to come from a specific school, you have to have XYZ degrees. In fact, specifically when I started out in tech, I worked at a Fortune 500 company in a group of people where I was one of maybe only a few who actually had a CS degree. I worked with a bunch of men who had the bent and were able to learn it. Our industry is founded on the type of people who were able to learn technology because it's changing every single day. Anything that I learned in college, I mean, my computational thinking's still intact, but those languages we don't use anymore. So the ability to learn and to grow is what you need. And so there are pathways there are training programs, there are opportunities within organizations where they will train you. We're exactly at the place where we need you to make a choice to come in. So, where people are hearing that if you don't look a certain way or you didn't come from a certain place, that is old. It's old thinking. That we're working with companies who may still have those challenges to help them understand they're not going to stay competitive if they aren't looking at the breadth of people who should be able to come in and take those opportunities. So our membership program provides mentoring, it provides training. When you come to our conference, there's training for people at all different levels, whether you're a mid-career woman trying to come in, whether you're a senior woman trying to cross in. It's, to me, the need is huge, and every woman in every space is who we need to talk to. The barriers are coming down around geography. We've seen part of the silver lining around the pandemic is that you don't have to live near the organization to work for the organization. So I just want to encourage people to take a look at our website, come in and talk to us. There is an opportunity that exists for you.
Um, you have also, which I found really interesting, the Tech Journey Fund.
Yes.
This is a fund that helps with immediate life challenges that can threaten women from completing degrees. How does that work?
That is a fund that is near and dear to my heart. I had an opportunity to meet with the college president and a dean at a college in the South. And we were talking about the program. I was really excited about it. I got back home. It was right around Christmas time. I got a call from the dean who said there was a student, a 3.9 average. She couldn't come back to school in 12 days because she couldn't pay her tuition from the previous semester. And so I'm thinking, okay, so how many days is that? 12 days? What do I do? And most scholarship programs have specific dates. It's normally October or April, and they don't meet the immediate need of tuition that's already due. And they also don't meet a bigger challenge that many students face, which is food insecurity, other emergencies that come up, like a car that's broken down or they can't pay for childcare. We just don't think about that traditionally, but there are so many students in that position. So we started this fund exactly for that student.
Mm.
And then we've been able to bring in so many more students who really would not have been able to finish their degree, finish their semester. They would have been off track if they didn't get this emergency assistance. So we're really excited to be able to provide that type of support.
Then you also have this pitcher awards for entrepreneurs. And I find this fascinating. I looked at some of the 2020 finalists, and they were solving all sorts of problems. And I love women entrepreneurs because they, when we talked about this a little bit, they solve problems. I mean, they come up with things that actually do things where I can imagine who would want to use this. One was working on something on cyberbullying, another was using AI for prenatal screening. Talk a little bit about this Pitchers program and how you recognize entrepreneurs and the types of projects that they're working on, and why you thought this was an interesting program to have. And what do they actually get when they win? It's one thing to win a trophy. Everyone loves a trophy, or a sticker or a little award to put on your refrigerator. But what actually do they get from
Yeah.
being recognized by Anita B?
So what we wanted to do for them is to give them a place where they could be exposed, where people could see the amazing things that they're doing. Because, like you said, they are solving real world problems and they're already doing it. And so, of course, cash. We give cash prizes, but we also invite venture type partners in. Who view them, and many times we'll connect with them after the fact and give them opportunities to get additional money. But that exposure on the stage gives them the opportunity to be seen. And we've seen many of them go on and compete in additional arenas because of that exposure that they were given on the stage and gain additional monies.
Such
So
as
we had one of our winners from 2019 went on from our pitcher competition. She won $35,000 was the prize money in October. She went on in December and did a congressional challenge where she was able to win additional money and get additional attention. We've one of our original winners who put together an organization to help people who are contractors get access to government contracts. Many people may know it's really, the money is out there, the work is out there, but it's really difficult to find and to actually put in the bids and get that done and get access to it. Well, she has been exposed all over the country and now all over the world for the type of work that she's done by first starting on that stage. So that was important to us. It's part of what we do at Anita B is we expose and give attention, draw great attention to women who are doing amazing things that many people don't know about.
And then you also have a program. You mentioned companies, uh, which I also think is interesting because you can do all of this. It's great for the women, really, really great for women. The exposure for the entrepreneurs, and also you have a program, the Abbey Awards as well. That's wonderful for those women and also for the young people who are still in university. But at the end of the day, you're trying to get people employed and
Right.
moving through the system into leadership positions.
Yes.
The key is companies, the companies, the companies, the companies. So what do you do with companies?
So we have a top companies program that helps companies understand what challenges they might be facing internally that might have hampered them from having access to the type of diverse talent that many of them really want. They just don't know how to get it. And so we've actually added additional rigor to that program over the last 3 years that have helped companies recognize the types of changes that they can make that have moved the needle. The exciting thing that the percentage that you quoted early in the show, about 28.9, that percent of women in the tech workforce, those are at the companies that have competed in top companies. And many of them moved 5 percentage points in 1 year just by doing the types of things that we know work. And so that's the important part of working with these companies, to help them recognize some of the metrics that they should be measuring, some of the things that they can do to create a richer culture that will help them not only attract diverse talent, but to maintain that talent and help them to go up through the ranks.
So what are some examples of things that you would tell a company to do to attract more talent, or perhaps even find some talent that's already there?
Right. So, I like that's already there, because earlier we talked about women crossing over that are mid-career. Many of the women who are already within your organization who want to do tech, they might be in another department in another area. They are a fresh example of people who already know your product. They're loyal to your company. They can learn the tech. We can help them create learning programs that bring them along the pathway into tech right in your own company. Another example is thinking about different ways and different places to look for talent. Most companies have their favorite 5 to 8 schools. Most of those schools are not very diverse. It's no wonder you don't have very many women or diverse women. Thinking about different places to look and to recruit. And this sounds really simple, but many times companies are just in that rut. The recruiters that they use are in that rut. And so we make those suggestions. But most importantly, especially the millennial population, is interviewing companies more than the companies are interviewing them. And we help them understand the types of things that diverse, excellent talent is looking for in coming to work for you. Do you have diversity at the senior level in your organization? What types of programs do you have in place to support women once they get into your organization? What's on the job description of managers? Is it something about having experience managing diverse talent? What types of training programs do you have for managers to help them understand how to manage diverse talent? These are the types of things that we recommend. And when they put into place, they see the difference. And it's not, less than a percentage point, it's several percentage points in a year.
And do you do one-on-one coaching or counseling with companies? Do companies come to you and say, can we have some time with you to just kind of look at our organization and talk with us about what we're doing, what we might be able to do differently? Does that happen? Do companies talk with each other?
Yes, and that's part of another program we have. We have a partnership program with partners that are really invested in making those changes inside their organization, and they seek the type of support that we give them all year long. And what we do is bring them together and share best practices and help them understand what the data shares about how they can become more successful even as a company. Because this is not about charity. This is really about making sure that you have the people in your company that can help you be successful. The data show that the more diverse your workforce is, your senior leadership is, your board is, that's going to impact your bottom line. And so we educate and we bring companies together to collaborate and share their best practices so that they're encouraged, that they know they can get this done.
Right. Brenda, thank you so much. This has been a really great conversation. I really appreciate it. You seem hopeful. Are you hopeful?
I am hopeful. My glass is always half full. I know that it feels like this has been a challenge, and it has been for a long time. People talk about diversity fatigue. I don't subscribe to that. Something that's as important as having a great workforce that's economically viable for our neighborhoods, for our countries. That should be job number one. And I know we can do it. We're seeing it happen, and we're here to help.
Last words. I'm not going to challenge you on that. Brenda Darden Wilkerson, CEO of AnitaB.org. Thank you so much. Have a great day. And for everyone else, that'll do it for us here at Bloomberg. I'm Karen Toulon, Black in Focus. This is Bloomberg. We'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.